What is going on, everyone? It's Andy here, and today we're talking Game Week 32 preview. Finally looking forward to the Game Week to come. It feels like it's taken forever with this international break. I've already actually done a Game Week 31 review, double Game Week announcement, and 2 Q&As this week. So plenty of content's gone out. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. In this video, I know I usually go through quite a few points for the talking points for the upcoming week because there's so many permutations with people not having wildcards, some having wildcards, not having free hit and stuff like that. I'm just going to go through mostly my wildcard and my thoughts for the upcoming week rather than necessarily too many talking points. So I think there'd just be too much to get through for this video. And I've probably already answered the question in the Q&A. So if you want to go and check them out, I would do that. And obviously, if I don't answer your question, you've still got something outstanding, leave a comment below and I can always get into it later. But other than that, let's just jump straight into it and take a look at my team. So this is my current wildcard side for Game Week 32. I know usually I show my team on the My Team page, but for this one, because I've not necessarily transferred in everyone that I'm at the moment intending to get in my wildcard side, I've gone onto the transfer page just to give you an idea of who I'm looking at. So I'm currently ranked 46,305. I won't go into that too much because I did a whole Game Week 31 review, so you can go and watch that if you'd like. I've got some points that we can maybe talk about. I'm hoping that I'll hit them as I talk about my wildcard. If not, I'll come back to them at the end. And like I've already said, any comments you've got, just leave them below. So team's pretty template, let's be honest. I think when we get to this part of the season, obviously we've got double game weeks that we want to hit. We've only got a few fixtures left in the season. The player pool almost shrinks a bit to the ones we really want to get in, and then there's a few punts and stuff that you might want to look at. But ultimately, with wildcards at this point in the season, a lot of them do converge, and you get template teams. And to be honest, mine is no different, especially in midfield and up front. So I'll just talk through my team bit by bit and kind of let you know the thought process. So in goal, I've got David De Gea and Ryan. So David De Gea is in because I basically want to cover that Man United defence. I think there's clean sheets there, has been all season. I don't see with the fixtures they've got that changing. Maybe once top four secure, who knows what will happen in the FA Cup. Maybe Jose will let his foot off the gas a bit and let the team attack a bit more. But with David De Gea in goal, I've said it all season, Matic in midfield, and a pretty good defence, there's going to be clean sheets there. So I want to cover that, and I think it's tough to choose a defender that's not Valencia, who's nailed on. Obviously, Ashley Young is listed as a midfielder. Valencia is like 6.8 or 6.9 million, which is really expensive. And then you've got Bailly Jones, who's back in training today, apparently, in Smalling. So Smalling started a good few games, but the start of the season, Bailly and Jones were first choice. Jones has pretty much not missed, or at least not missed many matches when he's been fit. So will he come straight back in? And will Bailly, who most fans would consider our first choice defender, or at least he should be, is he going to suddenly start missing out? So Smalling looks good value at 5.4 million, but he is definitely a defender spot that is up for grabs in my team. I don't think it'll be Smalling by the time the deadline comes around. But I'll talk about that in a minute. And then Ryan, basically I want a cheapie to go with De Gea because I'm going to play De Gea most weeks. Ryan's in there to bench boost in Game Week 34 because Bryson have 2 double game weeks. So I'm going to bench boost in Game Week 34. Hopefully Ryan will come up with some save points. A clean sheet, outside clean sheet, it seems unlikely, but you never know. And then I probably won't play him for the rest of the season if I can help it. And if something does happen to De Gea, I've got him in my team, and he does have another double game later down the line. So other options are Schmeichel, but he's more expensive. I could go Lloris, but Lloris and I think instead of Vertonghen and Ryan, I could go Lloris and a Brighton defender, which someone pointed out to me earlier, which would be cheaper. But the thing is, Ryan's not going to get played that much, whereas if I have Lloris in goal, I want to play that Tottenham defender, especially from Game Week 36 onwards, but I'm not going to want to bench De Gea. So I think having 2 expensive goalkeepers is not a good strategy, so I won't be going that. So it's going to be Ryan for me. That's pretty much nailed on, I'd say. There's McCarthy for Southampton, who's a bit cheaper, 4.4 million. Again, Southampton have got 2 double game weeks, so you could go there potentially. It just depends whether you think he can keep Forster out for the rest of the season. Potentially can. I think he started like the last 9 to 10 games, so he's looking first choice at the moment. But I'm more confident in Ryan until the end of the season, even though I only want to play him really for Game Week 34. And then in defence, I've got Alonso. I've thought about not going for him, maybe bulking up my team elsewhere. I just think he's so fun to own. It's so hard to watch Chelsea when you don't have him because he is so far up the pitch. We've seen it time and time again. It always gets said by people he's a winger that gets clean sheets. We see him pop up as a number 9 at times. It's ridiculous. So I want him. I think Azpilicueta is only 0.3 million cheaper. If the gap was bigger, then maybe I'd consider him. Like if he was 6, 6.1, 6.2, then it's a different conversation to have. But for a 0.3 saving, I just don't think Azpilicueta is worth it. I think they're both pretty much nailed on as they can be. Azpilicueta maybe ever so slightly more nailed on, but who do Chelsea really have to replace Alonso? Emerson barely played in the league this year, so I just think Alonso's pretty much nailed on and going to play every game. So he's in double game week, attack and returns potential on free kicks. I think if you can afford him, you should go for him. But I know some people maybe don't have the team value to do it, and they've got to make sacrifices. So he's not the it's not the end of the world if you can't get him. But obviously, it goes without saying, he's a really good option. And then I've got Vertonghen in basically because Spurs have 2 double game weeks, and like I said earlier, from 36 they got Watford, then they got a nice, I think it's Newcastle away, West Brom at home, or vice versa. But they're the 2 teams they play. And I can't remember who the team is they play on the last day of the season. But again, it's another good fixture. He's nailed on. I'd actually much prefer a fullback, but there's no guarantee that they will play every game, which is a problem. I love Davis, love Trippier, but there's just no guarantee they'll play every game, especially with the FA Cup. You'd expect Vertonghen to play most games. Now, to be fair, he's a bit of a default pick for 6 million because I know he's going to play. That's who I've gone for. Is he great value at 6 million? I don't know. He's not really got attack and returns, but I'm confident that he'll play. 2 double game weeks. Spurs are a good side. I can see clean sheets, so that's why he's currently in my side. So Vertonghen, I think, will probably stay. And then 2 more defenders that are going to stay, Loughton and Morgan. Again, Leicester have got 2 double game weeks, and they got okay fixtures in those double game weeks as well. Morgan, again, it's a bit like Vertonghen, it's a bit of a default pick because I'd probably rather have Maguire. Although he hasn't shown it this year, he's probably got a little bit more attacking potential than Morgan has, but he's 1.2 million more expensive, and I just can't justify that for a Leicester team that doesn't get too many clean sheets. So if they're going to get clean sheets, yes, Maguire's probably quite good for bonus, but I've got Morgan in my team for an outside chance of clean sheets. There's no guarantee, so I just can't justify spending an extra 1.2 million. And there's Chilwell, who I like attacking, but there's no guarantee he'll start every game because of Fuchs. So Chilwell could miss out. I think if he plays every game, then yes, he's definitely a better option than Morgan. But considering I'm mostly going to play them, I think in double game weeks for the for the bench boost and stuff like that, I'm not going to play them hopefully too often outside of those game weeks. So I don't necessarily need Maguire or Chilwell, and I want to make sure when I do play them, they're nailed on. So Morgan, I think, for 4.4 million covers that. And then Loughton, again, he's in because he's cheap. I think he's got 2 assists in the last 4 or 5 games. Attacking potential there. He's a bit cheaper than the other Burnley defenders, and again, he's really in for the bench boost in 34. They've got okay fixtures if you're on like a free hit later on in the season, around 36 and 38. Again, a bit like Spurs, I think they've got good fixtures, and they play in game week 35, so good for that. But I just think Loughton offers good value. I don't, we've been saying for a while Ben Mee should score, but is he going to score? We don't know. I don't know if it's worth paying extra money for that. So for me, Loughton is in, pretty much guaranteed. So then it's really the Smalling spot, which I'm not 100%, 100% on him. I don't think he'll be in my team. So for 5.4 million, I could get Mustafi from Arsenal. No double game week in 34, but he does have one in 37. Really nice fixtures running up to the double game week. So I could play him instead. But again, it's with Europe and stuff like that. Will he play every game? Is he the most nailed on defender in Arsenal? I don't know. And the other thing is, I'll come onto this properly in a minute, but I've got the money in the bank, 0.9 million, to do Aubameyang to Lukaku. But there's no leeway there. If Lukaku rises, I won't be able to afford him because he's 11.4 million when he's not in your team right now. So I'm tempted to just make that Smalling spot someone who's 5 million or less, just to give me a little bit of money in the bank, so that if people start rising and I miss those price rises, I'm not forced into a move, because Lukaku's got Swansea at home this week, which is great, but then it's Man City away, and I don't want to be forced into buying him before that Man City game, even though I want him in 34. So who could I go for in that spot? I've actually looked at a Swansea defender. They got a double game week in 37, which I think is okay. It's a pretty nice fixture. They've got not great fixtures outside of the double game week, to be fair, but for 4.5 million for Fernandes, someone like that, could just have him in and bench him. So that's an option. Obviously, that would give me a bit more money as well. Otherwise, yeah, not really looked at too many other spots there. Mustafi and a Swansea defender, probably. I don't know. I kind of tempted just to go for Smalling and hope that he plays. And even if I get him just for the game week 34 game, that's probably okay. But I think if you go for Smalling, you've got to be prepared that a team sheet will come out over the next few weeks and he won't be on it. And with Jones back and Bailly available, I don't know if there's a need for Mourinho to play Smalling week in, week out. But he's been doing okay and he has started a lot of the games. So maybe it's a risk that some people will take. I just don't think I will. So that could end up being a Swansea defender or Mustafi. I kind of like the thought of Mustafi because he's got 3 goals already this season, so a bit of goal threat. And like I say, good fixtures and a double game week later in the season. It's just whether or not he'll still be a good option in game week 37. How far through Europe will they get? I think they're going to do okay in Europe. Arsenal, they've got CSKA next, so they could do fine. So yeah, let me know what you think about that defensive spot. I just think it's not going to be Swansea. It's going to be Swansea defender or something like that. Anyway, defenders, boring. Moving on. Midfield, like I say, it's pretty template. Salah's going nowhere. I've got Liverpool assets to talk about. You could keep Firmino. They've got nice fixtures, especially in the single game weeks. They've got really good fixtures. Game week 34 even, they've got Bournemouth at home. Could do well. I just think for Firmino, I think Vardy's on a par with him for a bit less money in 2 double game weeks. I just can't see past bringing him in. But for Salah, 4 goals in a single game week, there's no reason he couldn't do something similar again. Been on fire all season, no way I can drop him. I'm not even going to talk about him any longer. I think there's very few arguments to get rid of him right now. Mahrez is in really good form, like I've already said for Morgan. Leicester 2 double game weeks, which is great. Nice fixtures as well. They got nice enough fixtures around it. Where I don't mind playing Mahrez. I might not necessarily want to play Morgan, but I'm not going to mind playing Mahrez, who's in form and doing pretty well. Leicester, how much have they got to play for? That's the only problem. I just think they've still got potential to get into Europe, so they might want to fight for that. Mahrez, is he fighting for a ticket out of Leicester in the summer? Maybe. So I just think, although Leicester aren't necessarily fighting for top 6 or something like that, I don't think they're suddenly just going to roll over for teams. I think, World Cup's coming as well. Vardy obviously scored for England. He's going to want to cement a place in that England team. I just think there's enough there for them to keep playing until the end of the season. We'll see how it goes. We've seen before that teams, when they don't have anything to fight for or to play for, they sometimes go off the boil. But I'm not too concerned with Leicester. Maybe that's biased because I want to get 3 of their players in my team. But I just think they'll be okay. So Mahrez is in, and then Willian's son. Willian's hard to ignore because of his price. Obviously, Hazard is usually the top asset at Chelsea. Willian we didn't get before because he's not been nailed on. I've tweeted about him so many times that I can't believe he's not nailed on to play. He's one of the best players in the league, I think, on his day. And he's in really good form right now. So Conte is finally playing him. And for 7.1 million, I just can't ignore it. And I know, and I've already told myself, that there's definitely a chance he misses out a game here or there. Especially with the FA Cup, there could be rotation. But for 7.1 million, I think it's worth the risk that he just plays both of those games or gets good minutes in both of those games and continues to play for the rest of the season. Because I just feel like Conte can't drop him right now. Now, again, what have Chelsea got to play for? Top 4 could be out of their reach soon. Who knows what will happen in the FA Cup? Will they go through or will they not? If they do go through and top 4 is out of their reach, well, then there could be rotation. But again, I just have to play it on the info I've got right now. Willian's in good form. He's 7.1 million. It looks like a really good buy. Obviously, this week Spurs and Chelsea play each other, which isn't great. But yeah, I just think Willian is too good to ignore. So he's in. And then Son, same thing really. He's playing up front. We've seen him do well when Kane's not been in the team before. But not just that. He's even been doing well when Kane does come back. Or when Kane's been in the team. So when Kane does come back, doesn't necessarily make Son a bad option. Now, okay, again, could be reduced minutes. There's Lamella fighting for a place as well. But Son, I think, is in their best 11. He started so many games this year and had so many good minutes in those games that I just think he's a good buy. Again, for 8.2 million, I think he's maybe gone up to 8.3 now. But again, he's just a good buy. I just think he offers so much value for money. Spurs, 2 double game weeks. Hopefully he'll get minutes in both. Did really well for me as well at the end of the last season, which I can't forget. So he's in for me. I just think value-wise, Willian and Son are just too hard to ignore. And then I'll talk about Gross in a second because I think I'll combo Gross and Barnes together. Up front, like I've already said, I've got rid of Firmino, I've gone for Vardy. You could go Aubameyang and Lukaku, it's a lot of money though. I think Vardy's been ticking over. There's a couple of games where he scored and only got 5 points, he got a yellow card, so obviously that doesn't help with bonus. But if you can keep up his trend of scoring, I think he scored like in the last 7 of 8 games or something like that. He's in a really good run of form basically. If he can keep that up and get some bonus points, then we're going to be laughing with him. I think he's a really good price. When I look at his fixtures matched against Firmino's, there's not many game weeks where Firmino's got a much better fixture than Leicester or Vardy. Either they've got similar fixtures or Vardy's got the double game week. So he's definitely the one I'm going for, as long as he doesn't pick up an injury during this week. And then I've basically got Aubameyang because his next 2 fixtures are really good. Stoke and Southampton at home. And then he's not got a double game week, but he's got an okay fixture in 34 and a double game week later down the line. So for people without free hit, Aubameyang looks like a must-have, I think. He's not playing in Europe, so you'd think he's nailed on. Maybe the only slight issue with that is that Lacazette is going to be back soon. Now you think he'd play most of the matches in Europe, obviously, because he can play in them, Aubameyang can't. But if Arsenal are going to go through and get further through the competition, then Lacazette is probably going to need some minutes in the league to kind of keep fresh and keep him firing for the Europa League. So we could see some reduced minutes for Aubameyang, but I'm not worried enough that I'm not going to get him in. And to be honest, he's just a placeholder as well for Lukaku, who's probably going to be my captain in Game Week 34. So like I alluded to earlier, I've got 0.9 million in the bank. I'll probably make sure I've got a little bit more than that to kind of watch out for price rises. And I'll do Aubameyang to Lukaku in Game Week 34. And I suppose one thing to say on that is if you are wildcarded now and you're free hitting in Game Week 35, then none of your transfers you make between now and Game Week 36 will count for your double game week, because for the second double game week, because once you free hit, you can't carry any transfers over. So I can't, any I save now, I can't carry over to Game Week 36. And obviously I don't want to make any changes to my team because I'm setting out for Game Week 34 to accommodate Game Week 37, because then I'm losing out a bit more on Game Week 34. So yes, okay, I might get a Swansea defender, but I don't want to do any more than that. So hopefully that makes sense, that I've got 2 free transfers up until the free hit, so I need to use them. So I'm going to make an attacking change by doing Aubameyang to Lukaku and plan for that. And if things do go wrong and get injuries, then I'll use the other transfer and maybe take a hit. But I just think if you save these 2 free transfers till Game Week 34, just in case you get an injury or something like that, if that doesn't come along, then you've basically wasted those transfers. So I think plan for at least 1 change. You could even plan for 2 changes. I could go Mustafi for the next 2 fixtures, and then maybe move him on to Swansea defender, or just keep him for Game Week 34 and see how it goes. And if I need to swap him, maybe Jones gets injured again and Smalling's suddenly an option, I could swap him to Smalling. So I'm looking at making maybe 1 or 2 attacking changes with my transfers, and if they don't pay off, if I get injuries, I'll just take a hit or 2, because it is a double game week after all, so it's not so bad. But that's definitely one thing to consider playing the wildcard now. So yeah, Aubameyang to Lukaku for me. I think Lukaku will probably be my captain with those fixtures. He's in okay form. He's not really justifying his price tag, if we're honest, but he's getting the goals. We're just hoping for a little bit more in the double game week with those fixtures, West Brom and Bournemouth. They should be decent enough for attacking returns. And then just to touch on Gross and Barnes. So Gross, Barnes, Goodmanson and Murray, they're kind of the 4 people looking at for like their 7th and 8th attacker. I talked through why I've gone Barnes and Gross, and maybe not. Goodmanson and Murray is a bit cheaper. The thing is, it's all about flexibility. I'm not going to, the 8th attacker, I'm probably not going to want to play if I can help it, apart from the bench boost. So in the bench boost, Barnes has got a double game week. In Game Week 34, there's a double game week. Barnes has one. I'm going to bench boost. And they're Leicester and Chelsea at home, which is okay. Not the greatest, but I'm not expecting a huge amount of points from him anyway. So I only really want to play him in that fixture. And then hopefully he'll just be bench fodder. I won't need to call on him too much. So I want to get the cheaper. I don't want to get Murray for that spot, 5.9 million. I think he's 6 million now. So he's 0.6, 0.7 million more. For someone I'm not going to play, I'd rather save the money and just, you know, is Murray going to seriously outscore Barnes in double game week 34? Maybe, but I can't see it being by that much. So I'd rather save the money. The other thing is Murray, once Brighton is safe, obviously in footballing terms, he's quite old. I think he's like 34 or something like that. For a striker in footballing terms in the Premier League, it's old. Like, it's not obviously old in real life, but he's getting on a bit. To be fair to him, I thought he was going to get rotated more than he has already, so maybe he won't. But they've got a couple of strikers, you know, Joa, Lacadia, I think his name is, who could come in, especially when Brighton are safe, when they get to that 40-point mark. So Murray for the rest of the season might not be the greatest option, whereas I think Gross is more likely to keep playing. He's on set pieces, quite a few goal attempts as well, especially at home. They've got 2 nice fixtures before the double game week. So I've gone for Gross in the hope that he's more guaranteed to play all the games. And then I've gone for Barnes because he's just a cheaper option than Murray, and I want to bank that money. Goodmanson, yes, he's cheaper than Gross, but Gross does have the double game week. So 2 nice fixtures, double game week, and then a couple of game weeks later he's got another double game week, whereas Goodmanson doesn't have that. And about an hour before I started recording this video, I did see that Goodmanson's maybe got a knock, so we'll have to wait for more news on that from the press conference to see how bad it is, but he might not even be an option now. So that's why I've gone Gross and Murray, Gross and Barnes. And then what haven't I touched on? Harry Kane. So one of the reasons I've set up as I have is flexibility. So Harry Kane, I think I'm going to go with, even if he's fit in game week 33 or 34, I think I'm going to go without him because it's Man City at home, Brighton away, and yes, we know Harry Kane can punish. I just think if Man City have still got something to play for, and to be fair, the league might be wrapped up by then, in which case it's a different story. I just think Kane's going to struggle maybe against Man City to go big. Sure, he might score, but is he going to get 2 or 3 goals? I don't think so. And then Brighton away, you know, Brighton at home are a different prospect to when they're playing away. Can they shut out Kane? Again, I don't know, but is he going to go big? Fingers crossed not. So I'm going to back Lukaku to outscore Kane in Gameweek 34. Plus, if he's only just back, there's FA Cup. Lukaku's a 90-minute man. Mourinho barely takes him off before 90 minutes, let alone completely rest him. I don't know if he just doesn't trust Rashford or Martial to play that striker spot, but it is Lukaku's. Kane, again, to be fair to Kane, he's also someone that plays pretty much every game. But I just wonder if he's just back from injury, will Pochettino rest him, especially if top 4 is looking likely, and with the FA Cup just around the corner, he might rest him or give him reduced minutes. So I'm gonna, fingers crossed, go without Kane, I think, until game week 36, and then look at bringing him in. So my team's set up for flexibility. Vertonghen could be dropped to like a 4. I'd need like 1.2-ish million, I think, to do. So I'll have done Aubameyang to Lukaku, Lukaku then to Kane. So I need 1.2 million to do Lukaku to Kane. So Vertonghen could be dropped to a 4.5. Gross could be dropped to someone like Andy King, who plays for Swansea. Again, double game week in 37. Son and Willian, if they're not playing, I could drop down to a cheaper midfield. I probably don't want to do that necessarily. But the options there, Alonso, even he could be dropped for Kane. So although there's not necessarily a lot of ways that I want to get Kane in, I have got a lot of options to do it. I could bank the money now, but I just think one of the things you should do when you haven't got Kane in your team is spread the funds, because that's going to get better quality players. At least that's the plan onto the pitch. So that's why I've got Vardy in now, and I won't go for Lukaku or Aubameyang and then drop to Vardy in the double game week, because then you've got 2-3 million to spend, and you've got to use another transfer to spend it. So my team is basically all about having as much value out on the pitch as I can, as well as having a little bit to make the Lukaku move, and then having options to get Kane in. So yeah, that's basically why I've set up my team as I have. And then bench boost and triple captain. I'm bench boosting the 34. I've basically decided that bench boost, I'm probably not going to get many points in 34 for it, and I'm probably not going to get many in 37. The main difference is if I bench boost in 34, I'm going to have a couple of Burnley players on my bench. If I bench boost in 37, I'd have a couple of Swansea players. Is one going to get loads more than the other? I don't think so. Swansea might not have anything to play for at that point. We just don't know. I mean, Jordan Ayew in 37 is a better option than Barnes in 34, absolutely. But I'm wildcarding now. Game week 37 is like 5-6 game weeks away. Anything can happen between that. So I have to go with the info I've got now. I've got a wildcard. I'm going to wildcard for the bench boost in 34. And obviously Harry Kane is not guaranteed to come back for 34. But he might be back later in the season. So I want to triple captain him for the Newcastle and West Brom games in game week 37. And if that doesn't happen because he's injured or something, or he doesn't come back fully fit, then I've got Son maybe. Could bring in a Man City asset. I've got Huddersfield and Brighton at home, which is ridiculous fixtures. Again, we'd have to assess what they're like at the time. Are they still in Europe? Are they playing fringe players in the league and stuff? And then Mahrez, who looks like could be a triple captain option in 34 or 37. So I just think I've got options in 37, which is where I'm going to keep the triple captain for. But I don't think my team will be in a good state for the bench boost. So that's the way I'm playing it. A lot of people are saying bench boost in 37 is better. It could be, especially if you're wildcarding in 36. But I just think the fringe players you're going to have on your bench are not going to be hugely better one game week to the other. So I'm going to leave it there. I feel like I've probably waffled on and not given you any useful info, but I wanted to go through my wildcard team and how I'm picking it and why. It really is just that Small and Vertonghen spots, which I'm not 100% on, but I think I'm probably going to keep Vertonghen, so it'll just be Smalling that changes. Unless we get any major news in the press conferences, which I'll tweet out about, I don't foresee any major changes to my team at this point. I'm pretty settled on it. I don't think there's anyone that I'm really worried about not owning. Obviously Firmino could punish me, but I've got Vardy and I feel like it's not a huge risk not to have Firmino. He scores well, but he's not explosive like Salah. It's not. If someone said to you, you're getting rid of Salah, you'd call them crazy. If someone says they're getting rid of Firmino, okay, it could backfire, but I don't think it's the biggest issue. So I'm going to leave the video there. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Like I said, I've already done loads of Q&As and stuff already this week, so have a look on the channel if you've not watched them to catch up. This was more of a, this is my wildcard team and this is why. If you did enjoy the video, give it a like up. I was going to say like up, but yeah, a like, that's always appreciated. If you're new around here, subscribe. We're aiming for the next milestone, which I think is 9K before we get 10K subscribers, hopefully soon enough. So that'll let you know when all the videos are going live and when I'm streaming. I am streaming this week, Thursday, 9:30 PM UK time. I'll go through any questions you've got left over that I've not already covered this week. There can't be too many left. But I'll be streaming at 9:30, hopefully trying to finalise my wildcard once and for all. And I'll choose who I get for that smalling spot. So yeah, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone.